Yo, what's up? We are now sitting in a Citroën C4X. I'm still doing the Sunday drive. It takes many days to finish a Sunday drive. I'm just kidding, but yeah, I have an interesting topic I want to talk about. I actually like these 4K podcasts because they touch into many different topics that I normally don't talk about during my normal tests. So the topic today is going to be, or the red line here, it's going to be, what would happen if Tesla never existed? What would happen with the car industry if Tesla never existed? Yeah. I also talk about, I'm also live streaming. We touch into many different topics as we live stream and talk about stuff. So I mentioned that, Lucid, I heard that Lucid, they are coming out with a more affordable EV soon, or they're planning on it or something like that. So I'm thinking, yeah, that's a good idea, because think about this, Lucid, they go for an expensive, very expensive, luxurious, low volume, high cost EV with insane range. Well, if you go for the rear-wheel drive at least. So they are actually trying to follow Tesla's recipe, because that's how Tesla started many years ago. They went with a classic Roadster, which was very expensive, but it worked. It worked back then, because it's all about timing. I was in 2008 or 7 when the classic Roadster came out. Back then, all the EVs were so shitty. You had Qt, you had Buddy, you had, Buddy Qt, yeah, that's the same one. You had the Think, you had a bunch of low-range EVs. People were just pointing and laughing at those EVs, even Leaf and whatever. And then suddenly Tesla came out with 400 kilometers of range, or whatever they had, right? 300, 400 kilometers of range, and it was like, wow. And it had that performance. It was a fast, sexy sports car. And yeah, actually I heard from someone, when was that again? Yeah, I heard that, it was a blog. Yeah, it was a blog post on Tesla, that the Roadster, it's actually not based on Lotus Elise. I mean, okay, in a way, yeah, they went to Lotus, but it's not just a regular Lotus Elise platform chassis, whatever they took and modified it. They actually, they took the idea from it, but a lot of stuff on Lotus was modified. So if you put them side by side, you can probably see a big difference between them. Yeah. But okay, anyway, so that was the whole history behind Roadster. And then some celebrities with lots of money, they bought them. Yeah, I don't remember all of the guys. Maybe you guys can list. I think someone mentioned Arnold Schwarzenegger and some other rich people, right? They bought the car to get the wheels spinning, literally. And that gave Tesla enough momentum to then focus on the next one, which is the Tesla Model S. And the Model S was a lot better in many ways, because it wasn't just a tiny sports car. It was actually a family car. I mean, I even own one of them for now. Yeah, Millennium Falcon. And I can tell you that it's back then in 2013, 10 years ago, it was an awesome car with outstanding range and insane charging speed compared to the competitors. Charging 3 times faster, 4 or 5 times more range. Even the onboard charger was way faster. And also, but it was also a little bit expensive, but Norway played a really important role in Tesla getting the momentum, further momentum up there, because we have no tax, no VAT on electric cars, and fossil cars are quite expensive. So lots and lots of Model S's were sold in Norway, helping Tesla further to where they are today. And then, yeah, you guys know the rest of the story. I don't have to tell all that stuff. When Model 3, Model Y, and all that stuff came. But then, if Lucid is trying to follow the same recipe by going low volume, high price, it might not work today, because today we have so many other EVs we can choose between. I mean, even Tesla also. So even Lucid is somewhat competing against Tesla when it comes to performance, Plaid. But yeah, you could say, well, but Lucid has the best tech there. They have the luxury. Well, but I've been in the Lucid Air, and yeah, okay, it looks quite premium. I'm not sure if I would call it luxury, but I feel like I get more luxury in a Mercedes EQS. And the EQS also has pretty good range. Okay, maybe it doesn't charge as fast, but it seems to me like people might not care too much about the most optimal 300 kilowatt charging power, as long as it's charged at 200 kilowatt in the EQS and it's a very well-known brand and it has the design and the comfort as you know it in the Mercedes, then that's good enough for them, and it still doesn't cost a fortune. Well, it depends how you, but you can still get a pretty good EQS for similar price as the Lucid. And by the way, Lucid, yeah, you can get 800 kilometers of range, but that will be in the rear-wheel drive. If you want the performance variant, then you have less range. So yeah, so by the end of the day, they might have a hard product to sell, Lucid. I'm not trying to talk down the Lucid. I think I tried the car, it's awesome. I'm still waiting until I can test the rest of the car, put it through my test. But now that they're trying to go for some lower cost car, I think that's a better idea, because it's all about the timing. You know, it's too late today. I also feel like nowadays that people might not care about 800 kilometer range. I even see there's some news on IAA, you know, it's like, oh, you know, this car is gonna get 700 kilometers of range, and even beating Tesla. But do you think Tesla care? You know that the battery pack in the Tesla, the latest and greatest Palladium, they have, of course, like all the other car manufacturers, they managed to get the energy density up. And Tesla could make a 120 kilowatt hour battery, but they didn't do it because they probably figured out that people don't need it, or they don't care, or Tesla is probably sitting on lots of anonymous data about how many kilowatt hour of the battery, or how many kilometers the users actually use. So maybe based on that, they figured out that, okay, we don't need 120 kilowatt hour. We can just go for 100 kilowatt hour. We focus more on making the car super efficient. That's what Tesla is known for nowadays. And then 100 kilowatt hours enough. And then you get around 600 to 650 kilometers of range. If you drive it like I do now in these kind of roads, you might even go over 700 kilometers. I don't remember what I did in the Sunday driving. Yeah, I think it was around 700, wasn't it? But my point is that is good enough. My point, yeah, because today we have so many high power chargers, and even Tesla, you have superchargers everywhere. And I think the owners, they realize that they don't need 700 kilometers of range. As long as they have 400, 500 kilometers of range, that is plenty for them. As long as the car charges fast, they don't have to spend forever waiting at the charging station, and as long as there's enough charging stations, then no problem. You know, that's my claim. Yeah. So someone else also mentioned that Lucid, they don't have octavol, they don't have heat pump. Yeah, that's also a point. But yeah. So back to the whole Lucid. Yeah, maybe it's a good idea for them to not focus so much on the range. Maybe this is also a hint to other car manufacturer. But it seems like nowadays, if you want to get the news out, if you want to create a hype, what kind of it's just like the megapixel race, right? You want to create a hype about a new product. Well, what should you do? Oh, this new product has heat scavenging. It has 8-way valve. You know, people will be like, huh? The what? Right? But if you say, oh, this new BMW is going to have 750 kilometers of range, people are like, wow. That's how you hype up something for consumers who does not know too much about electric cars or tech in general. That's my claim. That's why car manufacturers, some of the car manufacturers go. That's also my claim. Why did Mercedes put 120 kilowatt hour in there? Why didn't they go for 100 kilowatt hour like in the EQE? Well, because they needed to hype up about something. They had the hyper screen, and they had the awesome range and the big battery. Because if they put something modest in there, and if they had just a regular screen, then Mercedes wouldn't have anything to hype up about, except for that, oh, it's like some kind of S-Class electric, okay, fine. But when it comes to Lucid again, yeah, maybe they should go for a different approach. Go for a lower cost, higher volume car, and that's the way for them to establish the market, into the market. But then that led me to think about why. But Tesla, well, okay. So when it comes to Lucid's case here, it's just the problem is that they start a little bit late compared to Tesla, for example. If Lucid started 10 years ago, yeah, then Lucid Air would be quite awesome, and they could have gotten the momentum back then, right? So what if Tesla didn't exist then? How would the car industry look like then? Then we will have all these awesome electric cars like the EQS, like the BMW i7, the i4, like, you know, like Polestar, you know. Well, wait a minute, but we don't really know how it would have been, right? Some people claim that it's because of Tesla that so many car manufacturers nowadays go electric. So what could have happened if we would, you know, jump into the DeLorean and then dial back to 2005 and then, I don't know, abduct Elon Musk or some shit like that, you know, make sure that Tesla would never develop back then. What would probably happen is that in 2023, the car manufacturer, they will still be on fossil platform. There will be no motivation to go for fossil, and then, you know, hydrogen might actually have won the battle. You know, battle between the VHS and Beta. You know that VHS won, even though it was the inferior technology. So yeah, that could have been the case. And I think, you know, just look at all these brands we are seeing right now, the fossil brands, that still has the majority of their cars in fossil, and then just a few electric versions. Like, why would they have a motivation to go for electric car? Because they are milking the consumers for fossil cars, for repairs, for services, for whatever, right? And that the cars don't last very long before you have to replace them. But electric cars are just superior. But they had to do it. They were pushed into the electric revolution partly because of Tesla. So of course it's impossible to predict what would have happened if it wasn't for Tesla. But I want to ask you guys, what do you guys think, huh? I think actually that would be the case. Yeah, there could be some companies out there. I mean, there will probably be it. For example, I mean, Nissan was already on the Leaf. So yeah, you can say even without Tesla existing, Nissan would develop Leaf and probably dominate the electric market big time. But it depends how they develop. It took a while for them to make bigger and bigger batteries, and there was actually a demand for long-range EVs like Model S back then. So yeah, maybe if it wasn't for Tesla, there would be another startup somewhere who would start something that could make a long-range EV. But you guys saw how long it took even for the legacy automakers to develop. So yeah, I'm not sure if the other ones would, I mean, the big brands, you know, for example, Mercedes, BMW, Audi, if they would even care about making a long-range electric car. Why would they, right? Why would they, as long as they can milk the fossil industry? And especially if hydrogen, the freaking hydrogen train would join with Toyota, yeah, and if they started getting momentum, and then maybe other car manufacturers would also jump on it. Honda was on the case. I mean, even BMW was on the hydrogen wagon for a bit until they gave up. But yeah, I mean, I actually think that hydrogen would have worked if they managed to get something going in 2010 or whatever, right? And if they started building those freaking expensive hydrogen fuel refueling stations. Yeah, as long as you have a big enough population of hydrogen cars, it should work. It doesn't require that much of battery tech, just hydrogen tech. But it would still be a pretty bad deal for economy, because hydrogen, you are literally just introducing another way of fuel, and it's still very cumbersome. But yeah, at least the other brands, you know, the big brands, they will then be able to show the world that they are green. You can buy this green hydrogen car. Whoa, yeah, we're saving the environment. And then, well, but you know that the hydrogen comes from steam reforming, which is dirty. And then the big oil, they will be happy because they can still sell their shit. Yeah, but what happened now with the revolution, or the electric revolution, is that we don't have to be dependent on big oil. Oh shit, wow, that's a lot of driftwood. Holy shit, there's been some flooding here in the past. Damn. Yeah, speaking of flooding, what caused this flooding? Was it climate change? No, we don't believe in climate change. It's just randomness, random variation. Every year, every 50 years. Yeah. Don't blame. No. This is not climate change. Yeah. So yeah, that would be actually, that would be an interesting. You know, maybe someone should make a movie about what would happen if Tesla did not exist. Well, the alternate reality in 2023 without Tesla. And yeah, I would assume, I would guess that there would be way less electric cars out there in the market, and maybe Nissan would be dominant, maybe CHAdeMO would be dominant throughout Europe. Because if a company gets enough time to sell cars or to dominate, you know, it could change the whole car industry. Yeah, that would be it, man. Nissan would be dominating on the electric mobility. And then other car manufacturers, they are so far behind. Renault would be coming out with Zoe, but I don't know if they would be dicking around with that Camelon charger and don't want to implement DC charging. Or if maybe Renault eventually would go for some CHAdeMO. And then what about the charging network? Well, I mean, the problem is that Nissan, Leaf, they rapid gate, so you don't really need high power charging. High power charging is pointless with Leaf. Even the latest and greatest 63 kilowatt hour Leaf is pointless. So the reality could be that, the alternate reality would be that we will have some fast chargers around here, but they might only be 50 kilowatt. There wouldn't be any, the industry would not be pushed towards getting high power chargers out there, and there would still be a very small amount of electric cars on the road, and most people would still be on either fossil, maybe even hybrid technology, or hydrogen. Yeah. So it's an interesting topic, right? What would happen with Tesla? Without Tesla. or am I just bullshitting now? No, Bjørn. I know you like Tesla. Tesla paid you. You know, they come with all that bullshit, man. Tesla paid me. Okay. If Tesla paid me, why am I still poor? Huh? Shit. No, Tesla did not change the world. No. It's the big car manufacturers. They wanted to make those electric cars. It wasn't because of Tesla. Yeah. So but I think this at least this topic became a little bit short. Normally, you guys expect some 1 hour chat about all this, but yeah. But also another thing I should mention, by the way, is that like someone else mentioned this in the live stream. Like, maybe I should discuss about big oil and media always making bad news, or not always, but often making bad news about electric cars catching fire and all that. Yeah, I should mention that. I don't know too much about this, but what I can tell is that a couple of years ago there was a big fire, a freaking humongous fire at a parking garage at Sola Airport. That is in Stavanger, the southwest part of Norway. And when the fire started and it came in the news, people were speculating that an EV caused the fire. Yeah, I'm not sure if some news place even just wrote EV possible cause a fire or some shit like that, you know? Yeah, but then by the end of the day, do you know what caused the fire? Opel Zafira diesel, fossil car caused the fire. Yeah. And then also lately there was a fire on this ship, cargo ship, I mean cargo ship, whatever they call it, right? And then same there, in the beginning, they were speculating whether an EV, because they, when news broke out, oh no, there's a fire in a big ship. Okay, what is that ship loaded with? Oh, it's loaded with some electric cars and some fossil cars. Oh, blame the electric cars for fire. Yeah, no, by the end of the day, it was not the electric cars that caused the fire. It was, again, fossil cars. Because let me remind you that fossil cars have something called gasoline, highly flammable liquid. Electric cars, they will eventually ignite if you push them, but it actually takes a lot more. The myth has been killed long times ago now, that some people try to make it look like electric cars are more fire hazard, but no. Fossil cars, they catch fire all the time. They have way higher probability to catch fire. But even today, people are fighting against this. I mean, I can understand big oil, you know, going against electric cars because they see it as a threat. Yeah, fair and square. But I still wonder why some petrol heads, fossil car lovers, still want to talk down on electric cars. Because think about this: what is your gain? Why do you have anything against it? It's against the stream, man. It's kjerringa mot strømmen, literally. You can't fight it. People are changing to electric cars. Maybe your neighbor, your co-worker, your friend is getting electric car more and more. Then what? Then what are you gonna say, huh? Right? So it's better just to embrace the technology, embrace the future, and stop fighting something that is impossible to fight. So yeah, but we should also mention that one. Yeah, well, very good thing. Normally I don't pay attention to the live stream chat because it tends to throw me off focus. But someone also mentioned that if Tesla didn't exist, there wouldn't be superchargers. And without superchargers, now you know Tesla. Yeah, but great news, by the way. In Norway, Tesla opened up all the superchargers for the public. Even cleavage is now open for all the other brands. Oh yeah, nice. It will be one of the superchargers close to my home. The new home, yeah. And actually, you know what? When I think about this, I wonder if Ioniq was established many years ago because of an answer to Tesla supercharger. You know, the big car manufacturers have been existing for decades, almost centuries, some of them. They wouldn't sit around getting schooled by a small company like Tesla dominating the charging network in Europe. So that's why they were like, "9, we will niche. See this? We're gonna make Ioniq." Yeah, that's what they did. So you can say, well, I don't know, was it because of Tesla that Ioniq was formed? I think so, partly because of that. Some people might deny it, say no, it has nothing to do with Tesla, but I think actually Tesla did a lot of things, or they caused a lot of things, good things, fortunately for us, for the EV mobility, but also for the environment. By the end of the day, why is Tesla doing this? It's for the environment. They want to try to save the planet and make a difference. So yeah, interesting indeed, the whole supercharger network. Yeah, okay, but I mentioned that they opened up the whole network in Norway except for 5 locations. I don't know which one they are, but yeah, so that's pretty awesome, man, that Tesla, they can do that. So, and I can also mention another thing, since we are talking about Tesla. I didn't want to be a Tesla only topic, but some people also ask me, well, maybe Bjørn, you can mention that. No, where was it again? Tesla. Oh shit! Now I forgot about it. Sorry. Yeah, there was. There's so much stuff going on. I have to do this on the fly. Some people ask me, but what about the future of Tesla? How is it going to be? Are they still going to make cars, or will there be a charging network instead? No, I think that they will still make awesome cars. They have so awesome alien technology, Tesla, and they are so far ahead some other competitors. You know, like, you won't believe me. I know. I will just take that shit. People, you're Teslabjorn, you know. But like this car I'm sitting in right now, the Citroen EC4X, you know, Tesla is way ahead of the Citroen in terms of EV technology. Yeah, and also in terms of production, car production. But people don't like me saying this, but that's just how it is. I just said it, okay, and then you can just say what you want. But now Tesla, they already have great products out there. Yeah, they kick ass for the Lord, yeah, whether you like it or not. But they also just happen to provide a great supercharger network for the public. So that is a nice bonus. It benefits everyone. Yeah. So like it or not, but another thing I will point out, by the way, is that so what would the EV what would the reality be, the alternate reality in 2023 be without Tesla? I actually think that if Tesla didn't exist, Europe would be way more dominated by Chinese car manufacturers, Chinese EV manufacturers, because they seem to have the drive for it, man. They like BYD, NIO, like XPeng. But you can also say, yeah, but they were established because they wanted to compete against Tesla. Especially in China, I've seen this over and over again. Chinese brands, they tend to be very Tesla competitive. I think it was XPeng and also NIO. You know, they would even bring a Tesla over to a NIO event or a Tesla or XPeng event. I don't remember how this. Don't arrest me on it. It was something like this. You know, maybe I got the story wrong, but it was some of the Chinese companies. They even brought a Tesla and covered the logo. How are you gonna know this is a Tesla, right? So they would show the Chinese potential buyers that, you know, look at our Chinese brand. It looks way more premium. It looks way better than this other American brand or Tesla even, right? Or some brand didn't even cover the logo. Yeah. So you see, if Tesla is then the benchmark, it means that Tesla must have achieved something. They must really have they must have done something so that other car manufacturers are struggling to reach that point, to catch up with Tesla and to beat them, right? And competition is good. Competition is healthy. It's the competition that makes you improve. Yeah. So wait, I need to change the ND filter. Sorry, you can see the whole. It's the ND filtering going a little bit in and out. So yeah, but I believe that if it wasn't for Tesla, then there should be some Chinese EV brands out there who would probably have a stronger presence in Europe than today. Yeah, it's impossible for me to say which brand, but possibly maybe, you know, BYD or BYD is quite big, right? Some of the government owned brands out there. Oh, I wonder if all of them are. Yeah. So for example, this car I'm sitting in right now, the EC4X. I mean, it's a nice car. It has good, okay range, but the competitor, direct competitor today's reality in the real world is that the Model 3 is a really strong competitor, a big threat to this car, because it has very similar space, maybe slightly smaller, but it's more flexible. It has frunk and all that, Model 3. But Model 3, Standard Range Plus, has a bigger battery, charges faster, better efficiency. It's actually built on a pure EV platform. It costs about the same, and it has like way more equipment. Like when you look at the equipment, you get, you know, autopilot, motorized liftgate, 2 wireless charging pads. This one has some kind of look like a wireless charging pad, but it's not. I think it's not enabled. You have to buy that extra. Yeah, an auto steer here. No, there's no auto steer here. So this is just an example that, you see, instead of buying this car, you can actually buy a Tesla and it would be a better deal. So yeah, this is the reality, that because Tesla exists, then the other brands are actually struggling a bit. But I wouldn't say that, you know, Tesla has the world dominance, you know, yeah, buy Tesla, use my referral code. No, I actually, by the way, my referral code seems to have been exhausted now. I can't get more referrals today. Supposedly I can only get 12 referrals per year, which is not that much. It's a bummer how Tesla set that limit, man. But yeah, so I'm actually not making anything from Tesla. I mean, Tesla, they are even freaking slow responding to me. I'm still waiting for the Model X Plaid press car, and also the BYD battery in the Model Y rear-wheel drive. For all we know, I might get that car from Marcus before Tesla manages to get out the finger and find the car for me. So I'm just saying that, yeah, I mean, I know Tesla. I own Tesla. I know what they are good. I mean, the strength of Tesla. And I praise Tesla because they actually make damn good cars. Yeah. But of course, sometimes, yeah, shit happens with Tesla, but that also happens with other cars. For example, you know, like when what was it again? There was a sunroof or some shit that fell. Now, recent news. There's some wheel cap that fell off a Cybertruck, and it's like all over the news. Like every time there's something negative about Tesla, big oil. Well, I know, maybe not big oil, but media always want to blow up that shit because it gives them click. Eventually the seat, yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, Highland, I forgot Highland, yeah. People mention Highland, but so you say, yeah, so that, yeah, when shit like that happens, yeah, then that's, like, it's all over the news, right? When something bad happens with Tesla. But why is nobody talking about the door handle that always breaks on the classic Ioniq? Why is nobody talking about the panorama roof that tends to leak a lot in the fat e-tron? And why did nobody talk about Mach-E GT that has power limits when you just push it a little bit? Or all the Mach-E that got stranded, that got bricked when they regen too much around down steep hills like Geiranger? Did you hear about that before? No, you heard it from me first. Because that's not Tesla negative news, then it's not blown up by the media. But anyway, I think I talked enough about Tesla now and actually made this video a little bit longer for you guys' enjoyment. So yeah, but anyway, so back to the main topic again. I want to ask you guys, what do you think would happen if Tesla never existed? And is electric mobility and charging network today, is it like this because of Tesla? So I think that's going to be it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching and talk to you later.